Okay. Do you want to, who has questions? Who wants to ask questions? Who has, go ahead.
What happened yesterday?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. Sounds like yesterday morning around sometime 5 a.m., 5:30, he was starting a new job. Where was he starting his job?
The Bagel Den
Awesome.
in Park City.
The Bagel Den. So on his way to work, he was pulled over, detained by ICE officers, taken into custody, and is now currently in ICE custody. Not in what you would normally call an ICE facility, because he's currently being detained in Evanston, Wyoming, which is sad because tomorrow he was scheduled to graduate from the University of Utah. So the question now becomes, is this high profile enough to say, look, this is a young man that has virtually no criminal history. There's one traffic citation that we've been able to find. And is this high profile enough to say, look, this kid deserves to get out. He deserves not to be detained, right? But he's sitting in Evanston, Wyoming. And Evanston, Wyoming typically is a transitional space. They take you there and then they decide where to transfer you. So if we were to file essentially what is known as a habeas petition or a habeas corpus petition today, it would have to be filed in the state of Wyoming right now, because that's where he's located. The habeas means the body. The corpus is the body. And produce it, prove why he's being detained, show some sort of constitutional reason why he has to stay in custody. So essentially, I started getting texts, and you guys didn't even know this. I started getting texts real early in the morning, emails, calls. One of the attorneys whose wife's a school teacher, had started texting another teacher, her husband, and he's saying, "Get my friend out." I'm like, it's not that simple. I'll try. But anyway, that's essentially what happened. So was it a profiling situation? Well, according to the Supreme Court, now you can do that because it gives you probable cause based on things that have never been allowed before. Color of your skin.
Has ICE told you why? Has any federal agency responded to this?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Have you talked to him?
I have not spoken directly to him yet.
Has
No.
anybody talked to him?
I'm sure somebody has. Have you spoken to him?
I spoke to him early this morning around 9. He's doing okay. He's in Wyoming.
Yeah.
As he said, he's doing well. He sounds in good spirits.
How was he? He was about to graduate. How was his, inner insight about accomplishing, such a big thing, graduating from the U?
He was really excited. He worked really hard. He earned a lot of scholarships. He put himself through college, what tuition was left over. He hadn't tried on his gown yet, so we're looking forward to when he comes back and try it on. He was really looking forward to it. He was really excited, and we hope to celebrate soon.
I'm Danielle with KSL. Can you talk a little bit about who he is?
Yeah, I met him my freshman year of college, so a little over 2 years now. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary 4 days ago. He was an incredible person. Anyone in this room can tell you how incredible he is. The kindest person you will ever meet. One conversation with him and you see the brightness he really brings in everyone's lives. And he's so educated. He's always been so devoted in school. He attends church regularly with his parents. He's such a good son, will drop anything to help his parents, help his little brother Brian. He'll do anything for them, anything for his friends. He will never not be there for anyone. He's just an incredible person, truly. He means the world to me. He means the world to all of us here in this room, and we're praying for him. We're just trying to make sure that we keep our spirits high for him to ensure that he'll be returned safely.
You mentioned the room. Can you talk to us a little bit about who is here supporting him today?
Who isn't here, truly. It seems that all of Park City really has been supportive, truly, everyone. My
There's
friends.
about 70 people outside, out the door right now.
Yeah,
There's
we can't
way
fit them
more.
all in here.
No.
We have my friends, long-term friends from mine, my sister's friends, my brother-in-law's friends, his family, his friends, everyone, truly. Park City is in this room and will continue to be.
Was this something that he was fearful of happening to him?
Yeah, he would always express fear, but he never showed it in a way.
Wait, but isn't he one of the worst of the worst?
No, no,
Oh, he's not?
no, he's
Wow.
not actually.
Crazy.
He was fearful, and he unfortunately just wrong place, wrong time.
How did you find out that he had been arrested?
I had texted him in the morning as we usually do. He hadn't responded, but I figured he was busy at work in his new job. But I started to grow a little suspicious, so I checked his location on Find Mine on iPhone, and I noticed he was on his way to Salt Lake. And I had an exam, so I figured maybe he was coming to surprise me. But the more I tracked him, the more I realized that he was going off of his regular route on his way to my house. And he got off of Redwood, and he arrived at the immigration court in West Valley. And I tried calling him, I was texting him, and, I try not to jump to conclusions. I was trying to really see, maybe something else happened, right? But when he didn't respond, he wasn't answering back, is when I really did start to, become scared, confused. And then I received a phone call from him around 9 yesterday in the morning where he told me that he had gotten detained.
For people who are not living with this fear of what being pulled over might mean for them, what would you want those members of our community to know about what it is like to be in this experience right now?
It's an unimaginable fear that you wake up every day praying and wishing that your loved ones come home safely every night. And we would always FaceTime when he would drive back home, and I would always tell him, be safe, drive the speed limit. He always would. I would never have to remind him. And he was just always so cautious and always so aware of everything. And, to the people who may not understand what most of us in this room are feeling, and just count yourself lucky in that aspect, but try to put yourself in our shoes and understand that this is our reality, and it's getting more difficult every day in this administration, and it's something that we're all living with, and it's something that constantly is on our mind.
Can you talk a little bit about his current legal status and what that is?
How about I take care of that one? All right. So, Lisandro came to the United States when he was 1 year old. Okay? He didn't have that choice. It was made for him. And obviously that choice is because during many administrations, our border laws have been lax. They haven't been strictly enforced. And so 1 year old went to school, elementary, middle school, high school, doesn't know Mexico, doesn't even remember even a minute of being in Mexico. Couldn't even tell you what Mexico's like other than what he's seen in pictures, right? But, and I'm not breaking any shattering news stories, he also had a wedding ring that was going to be used on Friday, that was going to be given, because we've seen the receipt. He was going to propose, sorry. But as far as status goes, you would call that undocumented. I mean, that's straight up undocumented. But for years and years and years, the way our immigration system has worked is that that type of an individual, if that person were to have an encounter with immigration, immigration used to have the authority to say, okay, come into our office. We're going to sit down. We're going to put you in the system, but then we're going to release you on either on your own ROR, so released on recognizance, or ICE agents in the past had the ability to give a bond on their own. They could issue a bond. So he would be the type where a $1,500 bond could easily have been issued at that time. But now, in order to do that, you cannot, they're not allowed to exercise that discretion for the most part. They have to get discretion from bosses, and the bosses typically have to call back to Washington, D.C., and no joke, to allow this type of release to take place. So you're seeing somebody who is about to graduate, and I don't think people understand. I mean, I don't even know if I went to my graduation at the University of Utah. I'm not sure I did, right? Because we take it for granted. I got it paid for. I didn't have to work the way so many people do. So when you look at it from the eyes of somebody else that has literally scrimped, strived, worked at a bagel place, worked at wherever to pay for their education, and then we simply just put them in custody because they have a speeding ticket. It should shock our conscience. I've read some of the articles this morning. They're talking about, well, good, great job, ICE, great job. I don't comprehend that. I don't think that that is ever the appropriate response here. Even if you're anti-immigration, fine. But it's a human being, and it's somebody that really hasn't broken your laws, hasn't done much, right? It's a misdemeanor for entering the country, and I've never in the history of my life in federal practice seen somebody charged ever for entering our country illegally. I've seen them where they've been deported and illegally re-entered, because that's a felony. But never in my life have I seen the actual original charge where somebody's been charged with entry. Because again, it's a misdemeanor. So it's the same as half the people who complain when they got their reckless driving or they got their no insurance. That's what they've committed, right? That's it.
So what are the legal next steps then?
That's the debate. And it's a hefty debate, because if he goes to Nevada, we can simply file a request for bond. But if he goes anywhere else in the United States, we'll have to file a habeas corpus petition. And it's funny, if you guys want to see something crazy, you should look up the Eastern District of California's page. In the history of the court, there's never been as many habeas petitions filed, ever. I think in the last week there was 250 filed. And they're being granted. What's so crazy is what used to be a Hail Mary, we have not lost. I think we're 30-0, based on the constitutional interpretation of what the government's doing right now. And I think most habeas is nationwide in this context. It's up around 89 to 90% grant. And again, so what used to be a Hail Mary, so that I'm revealing that it's not great lawyering, so just so we all know, it's not great lawyering. It's simply the fact that the law is not being followed at all. At all.
Why would they bring him to West Valley, then turn around and transfer him to Evanston?
Yeah. Isn't that great that our tax dollars are engaged in miles and miles of transportation? Because ICE, ERO, Enforcement and Removal Operations, doesn't have a long-term contract with any facility in the state of Utah. So they have 3-day contracts. So our county jails are willing to house for approximately 3 days, and then they have to find an alternative solution.
Are you afraid that he might be pushed into signing his deportation in the next day?
No, this will stop that. He's not going to sign. So, no. No, and he's smart enough to know. And most people now, I think we've got the message out that the red card that everybody gets, I kind of agree with, but there's one thing that I would say in addition to that is you can say your name and you can say very effectively, I'm not signing anything, I want to see an immigration judge. And that gives you the right to see an immigration judge. Go ahead.
How long is it taking to see a judge in these cases?
Yeah, depends. Sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks.
Is that what we're looking for in this particular case?
I hope not, but it's see, that's the question, is whether we file in Utah, whether we file in Wyoming, or whether we file in Nevada, California, Arizona, or wherever he may end up, right? The probability of success is a lot higher in California, and not because California is, it's termed, I guess, a liberal state, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's because there are so many people being detained in California that the habeas work there has really, really taken hold and has really kind of spread out. So most of the judges are very familiar with the facts. They're very familiar with the law. We still have judges in Utah who haven't received a habeas case yet. We have some that have, but we have some that have not. Same with Wyoming. There's been some that have received them, but some that have not. And so predictability is a really strong component of what we want to do. And so, yeah, it might take 2 to 3 weeks, but probability of habeas grant, probability of bond grant goes up, goes higher. So the trade-off is, are you willing to spend a little bit more time for a better result? And that's sad, because you're talking literally about someone's life sitting in a holding facility who really has never broken the law.
How's their family holding up? Is this his brother?
Yeah, his brother Brian and both of his parents. They're obviously shocked by all of this. Worst fear of not just his family, but everyone else is in this room. They're just trying to keep their faith up, asking for prayers for their family and my family and everyone else in here. They're strong, they're amazing, and they will stay in high spirits for him.
Unas palabras en español de los padres.
Pues yo lo que quería dar las gracias a todos los compañeros de la escuela, maestros, no sé, y pues yo quisiera que si lo pudieran sacar mañana para que recibiera la diploma para su graduación. Porque no es justo que me lo hayan detenido sin delito de nada. Yo soy la mamá, el papá y el hermanito. La novia, la prometida de mis años.
Siempre ha sido buen muchacho.
Sí, siempre. Los maestros saben todo de él. Nunca se ha metido en problemas. Y me duele mucho como madre. Me duele mucho por mi hijo que está encerrado. Y les doy las gracias a los compañeros de la escuela también. No tengo palabras que decir más y gracias.
I know that she just really did talk a little bit about how he's good, always been good. Could you just talk about how shattering it is to, like when you're graduating, it's a big moment. You're about to be engaged. Congratulations. Just stopped. I mean, how does that feel? What's going through your mind?
We all kind of imagine what we would react like when, situations like this happen, but when it really does happen, it puts your life on pause. It puts everything on pause, and that's truly what I've experienced, what his family has experienced, my family, everyone else's. We feel that, our life is just a little bit more empty now without him, and we're shocked, we're nervous, we're confused, we're all the emotions, and it's just, with so many milestones ahead coming, it's just even more heartbreaking, truly.
Can you talk about what his area of study was and what he was hoping to do after graduating?
Yeah, he was graduating from the University of Utah's College of Health with a degree, more specifically a bachelor's in parks, tourism, and recreations. He loves outside. Growing up in Park City, somewhere so scenic and beautiful with so much nature and beauty in it. He loved to bike. He would always go biking. He made his own bike, something he would do. He was looking forward to getting back out on his bike, so I hope he has all the time when he returns. But more specifically recently, as of maybe a few months, he's expressed interest of, possibly going back to school once he's graduated to complete his prerequisites for medical school. It's something he's really looking forward to, and he was really excited for. He loves learning, and he loved educating himself more.
And when you spoke with him, does he know that he has this level of support here? Does he know what's happening on his behalf?
Yeah. This morning when I talked to him around 9, it was me, my sister, and my best friend. We were on the phone with him, and we were just like, everyone is behind you. If how many people you're thinking are behind you, triple it. He has so many people behind him, and it's even for me, it's been shocking seeing how many people are really truly in support of him, in support of his family, of our family, of each other. It's really beautiful, and he knows, and he's expressing his love to everyone, sending hugs, and he's in good spirits.
Was this a raid that happened yesterday? A targeted operation?
Yeah.
What place, what time? How can we?
I've heard about 7 or 8 people were taken into custody yesterday. I know I have somebody coming in again from Park City today at 4. I have another appointment for a couple other people. I don't necessarily, it was raid. And to be fair, they're not necessarily raiding right now. They are targeting. This one for me is more chance encounter. I don't know how to describe this one. In all candor, this one, I do not know why. This one specifically, because this was
So he was driving. He was
Yeah.
in his car, right?
with a driver's license or driver's privilege and insurance. So the probable cause to pull over literally would have been brown skin. I don't know how else to describe this one.
Do you
That's-
feel this is a quota filler?
Oh heavens, yes. Oh yeah. I mean, and that absolutely. The lowest hanging of the fruit are the easiest to grab. The easiest.
Do you believe his due process rights are being violated at this moment?
Well, according to our new Supreme Court, probably not. But do I think that decision was great? No. No. We have we have such a diverse population. You can't do that. You got to have, at least if they would have issued a warrant in advance and said, okay, we have come to learn about Lisandro. We now know that he's here unlawfully. Okay, that's a 212A6 charge because he's entered the United States. Once he turned 18, every day after that, theoretically, according to our law, he's accruing unlawful presence. So if something would have been done in advance, and we may find out that it was, okay? We may find out that it was. And if we do, then we'll know that it was a targeted, specific individual that they were looking for, right? But that means we're starting to look for specific individuals who have a traffic ticket.
You mentioned that he was in holding, not detention facility specifically.
He's not in an ICE facility.
An ICE facility.
Right.
What is the reasons for that?
Well, he's in jail. So he's in a county jail. And what's problematic, and I hope at some point people have enough time to bring a lawsuit on behalf of all of these people that are being detained in county jails, because this is a civil detention, meaning he's not a prisoner for jail purposes. So it's a civil detention. Because it's civil, not to be treated as a criminal, you're supposed to have a little bit higher standard of care, a little bit different facility, something that's supposed to be a little bit better, more access, more freedom of movement, and that's not happening.
What about retaliation, talking about him publicly, his family? That's something that is.
How are they going to retaliate? And I mean, at the end of the day, they're doing what they're going to do. I mean, and so in the court of public opinion, you've literally got a kid who didn't break the law coming here, because you can't, because he's one. A 1-year-old is not allowed to break the law unless the law has changed and I don't know about it. Last time I checked, 1-year-olds don't have the requisite mental intent to break our law, okay? So then we're just supposed to say the day he turns 18, leave. We need you to get on a train, go down to the border, and walk across. No, that's asinine. That's why DACA was created here in the state of Utah by Orrin Hatch. He's the originator of DACA. We just couldn't get it passed. Just so everybody knows, Orrin Hatch created DACA. A Republican senator. That's where it came from.
It's been reported that he had a DACA application
Yeah.
pending. Can you speak on that?
Pending is kind of a generous word. Back in the day, there was a period where it looked like during the Biden administration they were going to accept DACA applications again, because during Trump 1.0, DACA was stopped. But the court system prevented them from terminating everybody's DACA. So anybody that's on DACA could stay renewing it. Well, there was a period during the Biden administration where they said, okay, we're going to allow DACA applications to begin again. So during that period, Lisandro submitted his application. Within 2 weeks, the court system was absolutely jammed up again, and so USCIS just put every DACA application on pause.
But he applied during
He
that
did,
time.
100%. Yeah. What other questions?
One-on-ones?
Huh?
One-on-ones?
One-on-ones?
Are they allowed?
I don't care. Look, at the end of the day, this is not about retaliation. This is because I know that there are people within the government that don't like this. Okay? They don't like this either. This isn't. And so looking at retaliation, I don't really see it that way. I see it as everybody has the right to explain what's going on, and that's that First Amendment thing that we talk about. That's supposed to give everybody a chance to express, as long as we're not going to cause anybody harm. We can talk about these things.
You kind of joked about earlier the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But could you, to put a finer point on that, talk about how what's happened here, is it consistent with messaging that we have heard from this administration about how they're doing this work?
How sarcastic do you want me to be?
I know it might seem like an obvious question, but I'd
No,
love to
and
hear from your perspective.
Look at everybody in this room. They had the entire city of Park City. I'm not kidding you. I can't even tell you how many calls. Adam, get him out! I'm like, guys, okay, I'll give it a shot. Yesterday, we won a trial, okay, a deportation trial for a young man from Utah, 4 citizen kids, citizen wife. He's been in deportation proceedings in jail for 8 months. 8 months. He has 1 altercation that got withdrawn. He has 0 criminal history, okay, none. And finally, we won. But then the government said, oh no, we're appealing this. So then the judge couldn't let him out. He won cancellation of removal for non-permanent residents. In order to do that, you literally have to move the moon and the stars. No joke. So this morning, because we also filed a habeas, because we didn't trust that he could get out, the judge finally granted him $2,500 bond. This guy has his doppel licensing for a roofing contractor, tile, had his own business, everything, okay? Everything. And he was taken up, and he actually had DACA. He actually had DACA. So to say that we're going after the worst of the worst is, it's kind of offensive, because it is simply not true. It's just not true. Oh, one more. If y'all remember, I'd love y'all to look up Samuel Polanco Gonzalez. He was arrested at the airport, labeled a Tren de Aragua member. Court just granted our motion to strike all gang references because government produced nothing. Not one word to show he was a member of a gang. Not one. But all over the news, even you guys published it. Known member of Tren de Aragua, arrested at the Salt Lake County Airport. Nope. Not one piece of evidence was ever filed on the government's behalf to prove that. So his habeas is coming through fairly quickly too. And I would love for you all to be able to talk to him. Anyway, not the worst of the worst. He had no criminal history, none. And I mean none. And he was a journeyman electrician. He'd been through DOPL, he was getting his licensing. So, no, worst of the worst, not true.
Your confidence in this case and how quickly you think you'll be able to get him back
Oh
to
no,
his family?
more pressure. Look, and that's the real problem is if I say, gung-ho, we're going in Salt Lake, we're filing today. If I end up with a judge that I know has ruled against us, I will then have built all the emotions up, right? And then I'll have to say, oh, but guess what? Now I have to revoke or withdraw that petition. And then we're gonna wait till he gets transferred to another state because I don't wanna have to file, refile, and do a lot of work. So I know that based on precedent that's going on right now, he fairly fits or squarely fits within about the 95% of people who have won their habeas cases. He like squarely fits and is at the top of that 95%. Because when you have no criminal history, you didn't break the law coming in because you're one. Most federal judges say you cannot detain mandatorily somebody like that. That's illegal, right? You can't do that without due process. Whether they're a citizen, resident, or whatever status they may have, you can't do that.
Has anybody from the university made comment? You know, it seems kind of juxtapositionally,
Yeah.
strange that
I
graduation is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that I have to send an email up there to get transcripts. I do know that they're willing to provide transcripts. They're willing to provide records to the attorney. I just don't know with today's. I can't speak for them at all. I don't know. I know that I'm sure there are people that are upset, but it seems these days that if you voice any sort of consternation or defense against what's being done, you lose your budget or money gets pulled from your programs. So it's just a precarious spot to be in for them, I'm sure. But I can't say one way or another for them. Anybody else have a question? Duda? Chiste? Yep. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Could you just spell your name for me?
Yeah, Brittany, Britney, and then Hiquez, Xiquez.
Chicas. No, chicas. And then if you guys want to talk to people individually, I'm sure people would be willing to talk to you. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.